But he wasn't,
Even
though.
if everything you just said was true. She was motivated by money to marry him. She didn't actually love him. Let's even add that she hated him secretly, right? When someone dies like that, you still have a human reaction. So who would you say is his arch nemesis? Nick Fuentes? Okay. He delivered a more impassioned response to what happened to Charlie than Charlie's wife did.
The whole basis. That's where it all started. She's upset
Crazy.
that Erica Kirk was not crying 24/7, 6 days after Charlie was assassinated. Shawn Ryan is a useful idiot. He is a Navy SEAL, for crying out loud. And he understands full well that you don't give a hemorrhaging person CPR. That would literally be pumping the blood out of them. Charlie had a hole in his neck.
Grace and peace, everybody. We're back. You saw the thumbnail. You saw the title. Let's get at it. It has been a while since we've actually peeped in on what's going on with Candace Owens. And I saw that she recently did an interview with Shawn Ryan. Comment down below if you want to. Maybe we'll do a review of the entire interview. I've heard it was pretty bad. So shout out to Joshua Carr. He's pulled out the most egregious moments of the video. I thought of the interview. I thought it was good. So we're going to bring Joshua up here to the front of the church to tell us what he saw, what you got, Joshua. Brother Joshua, how's it going? Let's go.
Candace Owens is fleeing the country right now after her horrific interview with Shawn Ryan, as well as the Tyler Robinson trial that's beginning next week. Even her own fans are mocking her for it online right now. So today I decided to show you the most embarrassing moments from the interview. I also want to talk about why she's fleeing. I want to talk about the Tyler Robinson trial beginning next week. And I want to start with this one from the interview. Candace has made the case for a long time that Charlie Kirk's security guard clearly wanted him dead. Why? She says, because while he was bleeding out, nobody tried to give Charlie CPR.
I mean, I don't know. Do you give CPR to somebody who's been shot in the fucking neck?
Well, if you don't keep someone's heart going, it doesn't matter, right? Like nothing else matters if your heart stops pumping. So yeah, you would give CPR. I would imagine you keep CPR going at all times.
Candace, and we've said this before, Candace has Dunning-Kruger effect on extra Walter White special. The fact that she says, I would consider, or I think, but she doesn't actually know this. And in a moment, they're going to tease it out a little bit more. But the fact that she just says, well, I think they should give him CPR. Ma'am, that's not what needs to happen in this situation. And Shawn Ryan, I don't think Shawn Ryan has been paying attention to what she's been doing and what she's been saying. Listen to this.
I'm certainly not a medical professional, but I do know that like if your heart stops, you're dead. So you got to keep the heart going. And them not having the ambulance on standby.
I'm not standing up for him. I don't know if you would do CPR.
What would be the point of, if your heart's not going, your heart's not going.
Shawn Ryan is a useful idiot. He is a Navy SEAL, for crying out loud. And he understands full well that you don't give a hemorrhaging person CPR. That would literally be pumping the blood out of them. Charlie had a hole in his neck. You don't want the blood pumping more. You're trying to stop the hemorrhaging. I'm a 25-year-old guy with a journalism degree, and even I know that. I know Shawn Ryan knows that as well. I don't think Candace Owens probably does. She's not super bright. But that's the whole basis for her defaming Charlie Kirk's security team, by the way. And you'll see throughout the course of this interview, Shawn Ryan clearly has not watched anything Candace Owens has put out in the past year.
I think that's
He's
true.
wildly unprepared for all of her crazy claims. You can see it on his face throughout this. You'll see it. He's like, what are you even saying? He never really pushes back on anything because he's not educated enough to even push back. He just acts fake stunned. And I don't know, maybe he's actually stunned because he didn't realize how much of a loon she is. Maybe in that moment, he's realizing, maybe I shouldn't have done this interview, but he doesn't push back. One of the reasons I say this is he asks Candace to actually lay out her argument in full. What do you think actually happened, Candace? And even Shawn Ryan's face shows he thinks that she is psychotic.
What do you think is behind this?
I don't
Do you think
Tyler Robinson was there.
You don't think he was there?
I think he's a total patsy. I think they get lookalikes and they get everybody wearing the same outfit. I think he played a role, and I believe that what he did was he picked up clothes and he dumped them behind the Dairy Queen.
I think. No evidence ever. She just thinks things. She thinks that this was book 7 of Harry Potter. All of her ideas come from books or movies or TV shows. She thinks that there are 8 Harry Potters running around my hometown of Orem, Utah, trying to throw off the police. That they all took polyjuice potion, and there's a bajillion Tyler Robinsons out there. So at some point, Shawn Ryan really wanted to get to the bottom of why Candace Owens was going after Erica. Because that is the craziest part. Again, Shawn Ryan just asked some pretty basic questions. I don't think he pushed back in any way. But some of his questions were fine. Like, why do you think Erica Kirk murdered her own husband? And that's when things got very dark and demonic.
Case in point, did no one tell you that you shouldn't be on a Zoom call laughing about emojis 6 days after your husband got killed? Does someone have to tell you that? What has been rinsed out of you that you don't recognize that there's something deeply wrong with that? To get onto a Zoom call 11 days after he's been assassinated and say, we're moving on with Turning Point 2.0. My husband is dead, not to be morbid, but he's dead. That's acceptance.
Do you think that she had something to do with it? She was complicit, or I mean, we were talking about this earlier. I came here from Boca Raton, Florida. It's the shallowest place on the planet. You see 19-year-old girls with 76-year-old men every single day playing tonsil hockey and more. And that's just what that place is.
I don't get that part.
Do you think that maybe when they met, she was, she just saw a paycheck, and she's a narcissist and had no feelings, no love, no nothing for him, just wanted to marry into a guy who's making $150 million a year.
But he wasn't,
Even
though.
if everything you just said was true, she was motivated by money to marry him, shouldn't actually love him. Let's even add that she hated him secretly, right? When someone dies like that, you still have a human reaction.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even get Shawn Ryan's argument. Charlie Kirk wasn't making $150 million a year. Where are y'all getting these numbers from? But even in that, Shawn Ryan's question is kind of retarded, and it only adds to her retardedness. That's crazy.
So who would you say is his arch nemesis? Nick Fuentes? Okay.
Mm.
He delivered a more impassioned response to what happened to Charlie than Charlie's wife did.
There's a lot to talk about with that last clip of Candace and Shawn. First off, Candace is fully admitting there that her whole basis for hating Erica is that Erica did not grieve in the way that she wanted her to. The whole basis. That's where it all started. She's upset
Crazy.
that Erica Kirk was not crying 24/7, 6 days after Charlie was assassinated. By the way, I've had close loved ones die. As you guys know, my father died in an accident when I was 18. 6 days after, I was not crying. I was all business. I was trying to get things done for my family. I was serving a mission at the time. I was not crying. I had work to do. And unfortunately, Erica Kirk had to be in the same situation. She had kids. She had a funeral. She had an organization. Sometimes you take a moment to just lock in. That's what people do when they are resilient, when they have God behind them. Candace doesn't understand that. And because of that, that is all the proof that she needs to say Erica was in on it.
Let me also point out that there are people that are tied to Erica's leadership, not just her kids, not just their immediate family, but the TPUSA business, the TPUSA entity as a whole also. So no, she can't do that. It's just such a weird flex to hold her accountable to that. But let's go.
Other takeaway I have is how pathetic Shawn Ryan is in this. I mean, he is sitting there in a studio, guys, that used to be populated by super impressive former Green Berets, Marines, Navy SEALs, like the best of the best our nation has to offer. This is why we love Shawn Ryan. He served in the military. He had great people on the show, and we got to see, again, it was such a pro-American message and program that he was putting on. They were telling badass stories about their time in combat. And now he is sitting in that same studio with a gossip girl, and he's theorizing about Erica Kirk being a gold digger, again, with zero evidence. That's what Shawn Ryan has become. What a fall off. I mean, it's pathetic. It's sad because I really liked his show before. We really needed a show like that. And now he's a nasty gossiper. He later goes on to say that he's glad people in the conservative movement are suffering. Talks about the Daily Wire, talks about Jeremy Boring, talks about how he hopes that they have horrible lives and hopes that they just continue to fail, which I don't think they're failing in the first place. But what brings someone to say something like that? What kind of anger and hatred do you have to be in to say stuff like that? And that's why I say it's demonic. The word demonic, I know Candace Owens fans have been very critical of people using that word. The reason why we use that word is because nobody in their right mind could have that level of hatred. You would have to be possessed by a demon. I 100% believe evil spirits are at play here. I don't believe you can hate people like that. Again, for you and I, who truly dislike the behavior of Shawn Ryan and Candace Owens here, most of us are able to say we still pray for Candace. We pray her heart will be changed. We do not hate her. In fact, we try to love her with a Christ-like love. Love your enemies. I still consider my enemy, but do I hate her? No, I try to pray for her, even though it can be difficult sometimes. And I think that right there is evidence of having light and knowledge on your side. And when you tell your audience that you hope someone suffers, and
That's
I
crazy
showed
work.
it on my show yesterday, my live show yesterday, I showed Candace Owens talking about how she just hopes Erica Kirk outlives everybody and suffers for her entire life. That is not the fruit of the Spirit. That is not the fruit of someone who is trying to invite Christ-like love into the world. It's someone who is hateful, evil, and demonic. Of course, there is nothing more dishonest towards the end of that clip than saying that Nick Fuentes loves Charlie more than Erica. Nick Fuentes
That's
said
crazy work.
TPUSA was his B word. I'm not going to use it. And that he would F her. That's what he said. Nobody hated Charlie more than Nick Fuentes. Candace Owens is a rewriter of history. Now, unfortunately, this is all we have as of now of the interview. The episode is paywalled. It's not public on YouTube yet. We will release more when we get it. But I do have one more clip I want to show you unrelated from Erica and Charlie Kirk. And then we'll get to the Tyler Robinson pretrial, which is very important. This video that I'm going to show really shows the depth of journalism Ryan and Owens are capable of, because this is just frankly pathetic from them. They started going off against the Gentile slur goyim. They say that's the worst word in the world. They talked about how goy was used by Jews all the time to hate on Christians. And as we have fact checked many times on the show before, goy means nation. It's not a slur. Of course, the only people who use this word in the first place are groypers, but they decided to rewrite history themselves.
Say it means nation.
It does not mean nation.
They'll ask Grok.
It
Like,
means-
it means nation.
No,
really?
it means cattle. And so they
A
are.
goy.
They're yeah. Yeah, they're
Nation?
Talmudic
I've never
teaching.
heard anybody call a fucking nation a goy.
Mhm.
Have you?
No, that's completely made up, and that is not even something. I'm surprised that's a new updated thing they're trying to lie about. They try to constantly bury history even from 5 weeks ago.
It's literally the Hebrew word for nation. And by the way, again, the only people I've ever heard use the word goy are not Jews, but groypers. This tweet went out. I want to show you. This is hilarious. People were just replacing the word cattle with nation throughout the Bible. Here's some fun examples. These are the families of Noah. By these, the cattle of the earth were divided. I will make of you a great cattle. All of these from Genesis. As for me, behold, my covenant is with you, and you shall be the father of many cattle. So it's just funny. It's like God talking to Abraham, talking about how he's going to be father of many cattle instead of nations.
He'll be a cattle
Don't
rancher.
even have any basic knowledge of the Bible or Hebrew, yet they like to act like they do. I don't have a massive knowledge of Hebrew either, but I don't talk about things that I don't understand. That's all Shawn Ryan and Candace Owens does. Now, right after this interview between Shawn Ryan and Candace Owens, Candace announced that she is going on vacation again, which I found interesting because she just went on vacation to Russia. And this next week, if you guys didn't know, is the preliminary trial for Tyler Robinson. It'll be down the street from me. I live here where the assassination occurred. I live 10 minutes away from the courthouse. I will be going. I'm going to be covering it next week in
Shout
person.
out.
So come join me for that. I'll be live for a lot of that. I'm going to try to get in the courthouse. It's going to be very difficult. I'm going to do my best. If not, I'll be interviewing people outside of the courthouse. But this was reported this week that Erica and Charlie's parents will be there. And many people have theorized that Candace Owens is also going to be there to testify for the defense. A lot of people are saying this. I think if the defense could get Candace Owens, they 100% would. Do I think Candace Owens will do it? I don't know. I think it's possible it could happen. I think it's less likely. I think Candace is actually going on vacation. And here's why. I think she understands that her narrative is about to implode next week. The prosecutors will rip her narrative to shreds live on TV. And obviously, her audience will expect her to release a rebuttal the next day on her podcast. She knows she can't
Correct.
do that because the prosecutors are going to bring up a lot of things she's never even heard about, or they're going to bring up concrete evidence. All of it's going to be filmed live. All this will be public as per the request.
Yeah,
of
it'll be
Erica Kirk,
streamed.
and the
Yeah.
judge granted it. All of it will be live. And so she's going to have to contend with things that everyone will see. We will see the evidence that Tyler Robinson did this. And she, I think, is going on vacation, so she has plausible deniability and has more time to think of a new conspiracy to wage against the prosecution. Because if you are expected by your audience to go out the next day, you got to be ready. And Candace just can't be ready. Again, you got to think about this for a second, guys. This is crazy. Candace's whole show has been about this trial and the investigation for almost a year now. She would say, if you asked her, that she is the foremost expert on all of this. And now that we are having the trial, the most important moment so far in the Tyler Robinson assassination
I agree
case, where
100%.
the evidence will actually be showed for the first time, she is not going to be covering it. She
Yep.
will not be there the next day to cover the most important event in the entire case that she cares most about. How does that make any sense, Candace
Allegedly.
Owens fans? I'm just curious what you think. Comment down below how that makes any sense to you. I thought that Candace Owens was trying to get to the truth, unless, of course, it was never about the truth and it was instead about making money. And now that the real investigation is releasing their receipts, she has gone into hiding because she is not ready for it. She has not done an investigation. She has made up crap every day on her podcast and released it for money. One thing that really ticks me off right now about Candace Owens and her fans is that they keep asking this question. They keep asking, they've been saying it over the last few months. Why don't the investigators and TPUSA and the prosecutors just release their information if they want to be transparent? Candace Owens is coming out with all this material. Why won't they just rebut her? Guys,
Right.
it's called a trial. It's
Right.
called a trial. They're not podcasters who milk this for money. They will release all their evidence in the trial. That's not how this works. They don't just come out and, spoon feed you information over the next few months so that they can try to get as many views as possible. They release it all in a week in the preliminary trial. And then once it goes to a grand jury, they release all of it. So you'll get all your information. It just happens in a trial. That's always how it's been. I do want to correct one thing that I said in the past. I was talking about the defense team for Tyler Robinson. I was talking about how they're trying to delay everything. They're trying to keep cameras out and how they're really acting in a manner in which you're just fighting a losing case. And I had an attorney, I've had a few attorneys in my comments saying, Josh, that's not really true. I mean, the defense, they have a responsibility to do everything they can to get the case thrown out. And I thought about that a little longer, and I think they're right. So I want to redact that. I think the defense is doing normal defense things. I think the point that I want to focus more on is that the prosecutors are doing everything prosecutors would do if they had a really solid case. The prosecutors are trying to move up the trial. They're trying to make it very public. They're trying to do everything they can so everyone can see the evidence that they have. They're not hiding anything. I think that's very indicative of prosecutors doing a very good job and having a very good case. The defense is doing what the defense does. And by the way, I think Tyler Robinson should absolutely get the best defense possible because I don't want there to be any question that he is guilty or any question that there was somehow some sort of corrupt shenanigans happening in the court. I hope he has the best defense possible and loses. So we'll be here next week, all week, covering the preliminary trial. Again, I'm going to be on the ground interviewing people there And I think it's going to be a really interesting time. So stay tuned for that. Guys, many of you watch on YouTube, on X, but did you know I'm also on all podcast sites, Spotify, iHeartRadio.
Shout out to Joshua Carr. I appreciate him taking the time to break that down, to break down the Shawn Ryan interview. Let me know if y'all want to. Maybe I'll do the whole thing. Maybe I'll go ahead and get the video from the paywall. I don't know. But also looking forward to hearing Josh's insight into the preliminary hearing. I will be streaming it as well. So we'll be talking about it here on this channel starting on Monday, Lord willing. And I'll make sure that all that information is available in our community post. So make sure you check that out. So let me know what y'all thought about the Candace Owens, Shawn Ryan interview. Do you think Shawn was a useless or rather useful idiot? Do you think he just didn't do his pre-work? Do you think he was, what do you think? Why did he do this interview? Let me know. I want to hear what your thoughts are. Comment down below. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. And until next time, everybody, grace and peace. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the JWhit Podcast. If you enjoyed today's show, please do me a favor and hit me up with that 3-piece special. Like the video, subscribe, and of course, share it with somebody who would also enjoy this type of content. And make sure you leave a comment because I do pin the best comments to the top. So thank you so much for tuning in today. And until next time, everybody, grace and peace.